And Oliver Hartwich from the New Zealand Initiative, here's just the headline from a piece he published in The Australian 2 days ago. Unaffordable, unwelcoming. New Zealand is now the land of mediocrity. So there seems to be a theme in the commentariat in New Zealand that, hey, we're not in a crisis. This is an unusual set of circumstances. We are simply not the country we once were, and perhaps we should get used to the fact that we are not that country. It is pessimistic. It is not particularly patriotic to think like this, but it would strike me that more and more commentators and more of us are in this headspace. Oliver Hartwich from the New Zealand Initiative joins us now by video link. Oliver, how are you, mate?
I'm very well. Good morning.
But you're a bit pessimistic if what I read in The Australian is true. Are we turning into a crappy little country?
I don't think I'm pessimistic. I think I'm just realistic. And by the way, there's nothing unpatriotic about just telling things as they are. Because I think patriots these days actually have to speak these truths. We have to actually say how terrible our situation is, how dangerous our situation is, and then we have to do something about it. So I think it is only patriotic to really state where we are and then make recommendations on how to improve things.
All right, Oliver. Have you read the stuff by Bruce Cottrell, and did you read Damien Grant's column this weekend? Because they seem to have the same theme as yours.
I read both of these columns, and actually they are among my favorite columnists anyway, so I wait every week to find out what they have written. And these columns were brilliant. I wish I had written them.
Yeah, well, I rang Damien on Sunday, and I said, you bastard, I was about to write a column saying exactly what you did, so I didn't bother. But it is, isn't it? We can say, oh, gosh, something's gone wrong, we've got a crisis, which creates in our minds the idea that we can fix that particular crisis, like the cost of living crisis or the housing crisis. But it seems to me there is a wider crisis or malaise in New Zealand's economy that requires more than, if you like, spot welding to fix it up or to stop the leakage, to stop us sinking as a country.
I think that's exactly right. It's an omni crisis. I mean, name one area of government policy that still works these days. So I would struggle to come up with even half an area that kind of works. And that was the point of my piece, actually. I think there's something systematic about it. We have actually sabotaged ourselves. It is not an evil outside force actually forcing us down that path. It is not because the world economy is entering a recession, because actually the world economy isn't. It is all self-inflicted harm. And I started my column just explaining that if you just take the housing market as just one example, I mean, this is a country that uses barely 1% of its land mass for development. And yet we have among the least affordable housing in the world. That doesn't go together well. So I calculated for every New Zealander, there's about 55,000 square meters of land. So it's not as if we're running out of that thing. We're just not very good at building. We're not very good at building cities. And why is that? Well, because we have regulated urban land markets to death. We have also regulated building materials. We are not financing infrastructure well, and afterwards we're surprised that we're not getting anything done. And that seems to be the common story for New Zealand. We are actually not very good at getting stuff done because we are over-regulated, we're probably over-taxed, we're over-governed, we're probably over-lawyered, we're probably over-administered. And actually, if you're doing that to yourself, basically you self-sabotage the country. We need to get out of this mindset and actually get cracking again and get stuff done as we once used to.